Welcome back, everyone who's been with me since the morning, and hello to those who are just joining. We are starting off with Vineet Patni, who is a passionate training, a compassionate coach, and an avid learner and a firm believer in lean, agile values and principles. And today, Vineet is going to talk to us about minimalism, which is the key to maximizing value and great product ownership. Vineet, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you so much for providing this opportunity. And I wish a very good morning to everyone, or good afternoon, or good evening, based on wherever you are. A quick feedback from all of you. Well, thank you for joining this session. Can you all hear me all right? Give me some feedback that you can hear me all right.
Loud and clear.
Loud and clear. Awesome. So with everyone's permission, I would like to share my screen. And it is more about a discovery that we are going to be going through, some thought-provoking ideas, which I'm still experimenting with, but I just thought it was a great platform for all of us to share about it. All right. So with this, we'll get going, and I would like to thank Agile Tour Vilnius 2022 to allow me this opportunity. It feels such a great honor to be part of the biggest Agile conference in the Baltics area. Well, thank you so much. And with this, I would like to get going. So everyone who is here, I would like to ask your permission. I'm going to ask you a few questions, and please feel free to type something on the chat or maybe speak out, because I'm starting with a few questions. All right. So here is the first question to all of you, especially those who have been part of Scrum product development or product development using Scrum, or even played the role of a product owner. So as a product owner or a business leader of any business unit, or maybe owning a business, have you ever felt overcommitted, overloaded, or overworked for the development initiative you have? Give me a thumbs up or a hand raise if you say yes. Sometimes we have been overwhelmed. Let's see how many people feel like, I can only see one double hand raise. What about others? There are about 130 plus participants. Yes.
You're getting 5 thumbs up now, and a few more, 7 thumbs up.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, that's actually so true. Today morning, I was conducting a PSM advanced level course with some of the participants, and the time that we had the session was morning 8 o'clock my time till 11:30 a.m. my time. I'm based in India, and I was ahead in the session few minutes, and one of the participants were there early. So I was just having a casual chat with him about how is he feeling. And what really shocked me, surprised me, made me feel a little bit sad as well was he told to me that he has been working around 14 to 18 hours on an average, just to meet some delivery deadlines for the product. So that is the idea, right? Some of the people are so overwhelmed at work, especially those who are product owners. So here comes the next question to you, and you know what needs to be done. If you feel you are one of them, please raise your hand. I'm not going to say the question this time, but you can definitely read it on the screen if you can see the shared screen. Yes. Let's see who can respond. Have you ever been part of a product development which ultimately was a failure, right? Rejected, right? No, we don't like this. We don't need the product anymore. I see only one hand raised. So it looks like there are so many successful product owners and professionals here. No one else raised hand here. Right. So this is another story that I want to share with you. In one of my earlier interactions with an organization, there was a participant who shared with me that nearly 2.5 years of effort. And when the product was to go live, 2 days before that, it was scrapped. It was rejected altogether, despite people putting so much of effort around that. So these are some of the things that really intrigued me to do some more research about what makes a product owner really, really successful. So with this, I would like to introduce the topic minimalism, the art of maximizing value or great product ownership. That is how I look at it. And I'm Vineet Patni. I'm based in India, Pune, and there are coordinates that you can connect with me on. So there you go. Another quiz, and I would expect you to put something on the chat if you have access to the chat. So I hope you have. Are the participants allowed to post messages?
Yes.
All right. So yeah, basic Scrum question. What is the key responsibility of the product owner in Scrum? The man, the Superman. Yes, let me see some responses. Please encourage me, my friends. All right, maximizing value. All right, what else? Other responsibilities. Thank you so much for sharing. Coordinate between maybe stakeholders and Scrum team members. Anything else comes to your mind? What is the other responsibility or nitty-gritties? Be the voice of the customer. Thank you so much. You can represent the customer within the Scrum team, or simply speaking, the first customer. Share the vision of the product, all right, which artifacts they have to manage as part of Scrum product development. Yes, let's see, let's keep sharing, keep encouraging each other. I'm still waiting for some more responses. Product goal, which is part of the product backlog. And then you have backlog prioritizations and management of product backlog in general, market survey, and so many other things. Yes, even the description itself sometimes is so overwhelming. So let's move on and let's see where we are. So just to summarize briefly, product owner stances typically are that of a visionary that you already shared from the left, then experimenter. Okay, experiment with new ideas that can potentially work or bring disruption to the market or help you gain some new customer base. Stakeholder management, that is what the collaboration or coordination between the various stakeholders. Decision maker, which is more about, all right, this has to go into the product, this has to not go into the product. Value maximizer, as one of you already shared, and of course, collaborator. So you all got it absolutely right. I think we don't need this session anymore, isn't it? All right. Well, I have to disappoint you here because this session is not about any of these. This session is not about the usual stuff that the world already knows, right? This is not about what Scrum framework is all about, and this is certainly not about how to effectively manage the product backlog, right? But there is something that I'm sure will trigger your thoughts. So this is the first part. I would like to share with you the reason behind why I prepared this talk. And for everyone's information, in this conference, I am presenting this for the first time. Till 20 minutes before the conference, I was actually editing some of my slides. So please share your feedback. How is it, so that I can make it better? This is not going to be heavy on content. This is going to be just lightweight stuff, but really some thought-provoking. So with this, I would like to share something, the reason how this idea came to my mind. Coronavirus, COVID-19. Well, I don't want to talk about the bad stuff that happened to so many people around the world. Having said that, has coronavirus or COVID-19 pandemic, has it impacted us in some way? What do you all think? I would love to see some responses. 2.5 years into it, now things are getting back to normal. We have in-person. So what do you want to share? If you reflect on yourself for a moment, take about 5 seconds. Has there been one significant change in your life due to the pandemic? Let me see some new work models. All right. Virtual working is becoming the norm here, or maybe hybrid working. Wives online courses boomed. Yeah, right. So many people, including my own brother-in-law, suffered lots and lots of losses in the business. The business model did not go through. What else? On the personal side, how has it impacted you all? Before I share some of my stories, right? So one of the things that going digital, remote, it is like I am sitting here in Pune and I'm so lucky to have a way to discuss with you, right? Way less stress commuting, rest. That's exactly where we're going to lead to. Faster digitalization, collaboration, new routine, workout. All right. Some people have really improved on their health, and I'm one of them. The first 1 year was not so very good, but the later part of the pandemic really helped me get better. And I want to share some funny stories here. So pandemic really, did not allow us to commute or meet people in person. And when things were getting normal, I started reaching out to my close buddies, my professional friends, family friends, and started chit-chatting how the pandemic has really impacted. These are some of the responses I got from them. So one of my friends, who was always living in a rented apartment for about 15 years, when I spoke to him about January this year, and I said, hey, how is it going? How's life going in the pandemic? And he said, one great thing has happened. And he said, he has bought a new house. I said, well, how come? You have been working 15 years, traveling across the world. You could not do this. But how come? And he said, well, thanks to the pandemic. I will not disclose more what happened. But he said, because of the pandemic, I was able to buy my own house. One story. And other people I reached out to, and same question, how has pandemic positively impacted you? Have enough of sad stories? Share me something good. And they said, well, I bought a new car. I have become healthier. I have bought an iPad and a MacBook and all these kind of stuff. And I said, what has happened to the same people who really struggle to, yeah, Pavel said, I bought a drum set. Awesome, right? So something happened with many of us wherein we could do something with our life which we thought we could never do. How was it possible? That's my question to you. People who really struggle to make their dream purchase, but they were able to do it after 2 years of lockdown. Any thoughts comes to your mind? How pandemic made it possible? I'd like to hear from you. People buying new house, people buying electronic gadgets, iPhone, whatnot. What made it possible? We became minimalists. Our spends reduced. We started living a life wherein only the necessary stuff existed, including people. Some people were thankful how pandemic has impacted your life, and they would reply, well, I'm not meeting any of those so-called friends anymore who are just friends by name, and they're out of my life now. Thanks to the pandemic, I'm not meeting people, right? You could spend time with yourself. You could reflect on the experiences, more time with children and family members and whatnot. So what I would now say is this was the idea behind how we could achieve more outcome with our life. So here, let me move on now and let me share with you the discovery process, right? So when this idea came to my mind that there must be something happening here, and why not connect it to what I do professionally as a Scrum coach, Scrum trainer, enterprise executive coach. So I thought, let me connect all of these. There must be something out there which will probably help me articulate the reasons behind all of that. Now here, I generally keep it very simple. So this was the part of my research. So I went a little deeper into the manifesto for, well, agile software development, or I just say manifesto of achieving great results, right? So agile manifesto. Then I also drew some inspiration from the Scrum guide, a short. I mean, I hope you have quick feedback. How many of you have gone through at least one of these? Can you please raise hand on Zoom and maybe share feedback, either the Agile Manifesto or the Scrum Guide or both? Let me see. Out of 143 plus people, how many raise hand? Only 5. No, this cannot be possible.
It's still
right?
increasing. It's still increasing.
Oh, it's increasing. It's increasing. Yeah. So yeah, maybe there are many people out there, but this is something probably I would have read. I don't even know. Almost every day, some portion of it I read. I went a little deeper, my friends. And I also looked at a lovely concept called lean thinking. Okay. So lean thinking is also something because Scrum itself is based on lean thinking as one of the core foundation behind Scrum. So when I did my research around these, research as in things already existed and just trying to figure out, find the answers. So these are some of the things I found from each of these. Let's look at them. Agile Manifesto principle. And one of these principles says simplicity. The art of maximizing the amount of work not done is essential. Look at it, right? Maximizing, not done, is essential. This is one of the 12 core principles of agility. Let's move forward here. Lean thinking. And what is that? So I'll read it out. Way to think about how to organize human activities in general to deliver more benefits to the society, to the people, to the community, while eliminating waste. Absolutely what is not necessary. And that's what I was talking about, right? Some people reduced in my life due to the pandemic, right? No more those kind of stressful and less valuable conversations. So in general, this is a broader paradigm where is it valuable or not? If not, let's eliminate or at least reduce it. And then look at the most important thing about product owner. The product owner is accountable for maximizing the value of the product resulting from the work of the Scrum team, right? Some of you already shared, this is the idea. Do you see some connection in these three statements? If yes, I would like to see some response on the chat, please. That is a great way to see, am I really making sense? So do you see some connection here? Who can figure out some connection, please, between simplicity principle, explanation of what lean thinking is, and also the key accountability of the product owner? Yes or no? Similarity or not? Not connection, no connection at all. What do you all think? I will wait here forever. Is there a connection or is there no connection? Yeah. Are participants allowed to speak here?
Yes, I did add the allow participants unmute themselves function for the particular call. So feel free to unmute yourselves, folks, if you want to share something.
Yes, please. Agility is all about interactions over tools. So I would love to hear comments. Well, and no problem. Let's move on. And that's where it brings me to, well, what is simplicity, right? Simplicity is a state of being uncomplicated, free from excess baggage that we carry. It could be in any form, people, stuff in your wardrobe, processes in our organization, meetings, so many things. So simplicity is free from any excess baggage that we might be carrying. So this is what I found as per a plain simple dictionary meaning about simplicity. Let's look at essentialism. One of the principles says simplicity is essential. So I just found out what is the core thing behind it being, essentialism. And this is what I found. I'm still reading the book, but I still found it very intriguing, which is the way of the essentialist is not about getting more done in less time. It's not about doing more. Rather, it's about doing less, getting only the right stuff done. And that's essentialism. And minimalism. This is still a topic which is being researched. There is absolutely no formal or universally accepted definition of what minimalism is all about. But this is what the current understanding is, wherein we say minimalism is nothing but intentional promotion of things we most value and removal of anything and anybody that distracts us from it. There are brands now coming which is minimalist. There are products which are coming which are less and less in their features but still delivering great results. For example, look at the remote control that we used to have 15 years back. So many buttons, it felt like a keyboard. Nowadays, you have 5 to 6 buttons. Look at the air conditioner that we have today, right? All we have is 2 to 3 buttons and that's it. Only the essential features. So that is the idea. It is a lot in the talk these days, maybe not in the agile circle, but definitely in general area of life, like spiritualism. Okay, spiritualism talks about minimalism, how we can find that intrinsic happiness by being minimalist, keeping things simple, only doing the essential stuff and not doing anything that is waste. So for the purpose of this session, I'm now going to put it all together and maybe put my thoughts and would love to hear from you as well, what great product ownership is all about. So it's a balance or maybe connection between all three: simplicity, essentialism, and minimalism. But for the sake of simplicity in this session, I just called it minimalism. Maybe the word was more attractive compared to the other terms. So I chose minimalism. So when I say minimalism from now, you can say it's a mix of all three or either of them, right? Simplicity, essentialism, and minimalism. So I would like to go forward before we get into the tangible takeaways about how product owners can be minimalist and still maximize their value. So before I could go further, I did some more research to find some inspiration. Inspiration from some great business leaders who have knowingly or unknowingly, intentionally or intentionally applied some of these and achieved great results. So I'm going to share. So here are the inspirations, and I'm going to share a picture with you, and I would love to see if anyone can recognize it. I'll wait for about 10 seconds, and then I will definitely move on. So who can recognize this great human being? Does it connect with any one of you? Was one of the richest? Yes, Pavel, would you like to put your response or speak out? Who is this person and why is he famous for? Yeah, Warren. Warren who? Warren Buffett. Yeah? And what is he known for? Why is he being studied by all the universities and researchers, right? Oracle of Omaha. All right. Once upon a time, I think once he was the wealthiest person existed on this earth, right? Warren Buffett. And what he did? Investments, right? He would research on the companies which were potential for him to, to invest in and make some money out of it. And that's the idea. And you won't believe the strategy that he followed was just awesome. Having said that, before I go to the strategy, I would also like to reflect upon his lifestyle. He still stays, what I know at this point, he stayed in 3-bedroom apartment. That's all. He drove his own car. People ask me, Warren, you could have a multi-million-dollar mansion and private jet and this and that. And why are you doing this? And his answer was, well, I like driving. That's it. Think about it. When people asked him why you are living in a 3-bedroom apartment, when you have what, like every day you make so much money, which could be equivalent to many of the countries that exist today. Think about it, annual budget of some of the countries. And his response, well, I have everything that I need inside of my apartment. Think about it, right? Such a beautiful concept. So I have everything I need. So I stay in a 3-bedroom apartment. I love driving, so I have my own car. So talking about his investment ideas, because we are talking about product ownership here. So when Warren's research team would present, let's say, 100 of business ideas where he could invest in, he used to separate those files. At that time, he used to work with physical files. So let's say I'm sitting on the table here, and there are hundreds of files with researched by the team, and he would separate them out into 2 stacks, one side and the other side. One side will probably have about 85 to 95 of those files, and the other stack would have 5 to 10 of those files maybe. Can somebody tell me, if right side is 85 files and left side is 5 to 10 files, where would he end up investing in? Right side 85 files or left side 5 to 10 files or business opportunities? What do you think? Right 85, left 5 or 10. Exactly. 5 or 10. He would ignore the other 85 to 90 opportunities. It doesn't mean those 80 or 90 became a failed business model later on. But what it meant is he only invested in things that he was clear about or more clear about, and where things were way too simple. And that is why by investing in those companies, he became such a wealthy person, right? He has one of the highest strike rates of converting startups and small companies into really, really big ones. And he has been part of that. Let me move on. In this forum, when we talk about product ownership, how can we not talk about these gentlemen? I hope you can guess what they have done to our world. Can somebody tell me, please, if you can recognize this great partnership, which has given us some lovely concept? Yes, this is your quiz question. Let's see who answers it. The Scrum Guide, Ken and Jeff, the co-creators of Scrum Guide. They don't say Scrum. At least Ken does not say Scrum. They say Scrum Guide in many forums, because Ken says, I did not create it. You all did. I just put it all together. We just bounded it with a set of common rules which are more acceptable across the world. What do you all think? The Scrum Guide, where probably 90% of Agile projects use Scrum, maybe more. Almost every project has some element of Scrum in that. Great organizations using Scrum in an effective manner to build great products. Do you think Scrum can also be an example of a minimalist approach? Based on the last two versions of the Scrum Guide, has the guide become thicker and thicker, or thinner or thinner? What do you think? What is the size of the guide in terms of number of pages in a typical A4 size document? Who can guess that? What is the size of the Scrum Guide in terms of number of pages? Yes, 13. Very close, right? 13. Yeah, the last version 17, and it is now becoming 12 or 13 maybe. And some of the people who have worked closely with Ken, they say something on a lighter note that if Ken was the only person to write the Scrum Guide would be all of one paragraph, maybe one page, because that's it. All the key information is right there. Rest is all up to us to build. So that is where another inspiration is, right? Scrum Guide is a classic example of how we can just focus on the bare minimum, the essentials, and that's it. So one more research, which I have not put it on the slide, is something very close to my heart, because I was working in a company called Wipro Technologies by a gentleman, helmed by a gentleman called Mr. Azim Premji, who was also once the wealthiest Indian once upon a time. And Wipro Technologies was one of the companies sought after to work in. Anyone heard about that? Wipro, W-I-P-R-O. They have global locations, and even today, top 10 exporters of India, right? IT exports of India. So when I was there in Wipro, I spent about 5+ years there. We used to hear a lot of stories about Mr. Premji, and some of these are simple lifestyle. He would stay in the guest house that he only created for employees. He would not stay in a big 5-star hotel and all of that. Again, people asked him, why, Mr. Premji, when you can afford to stay anywhere, why are you staying here? And his answer was, just look at the answer. He said, if I don't respect and trust the facilities that I provide, how can I expect my employees to use these facilities? So he would stay in the company guest houses. Think of it. The richest Indian at that time would stay in the company guest house, right? Travel in no business class, economy class, just like any other people would do. And when people spoke to him about his success mantra, this is what he said. Well, I just showed up for work every day morning at 8 o'clock. And I left at 5 o'clock. He was notorious in a way that when the rest of the people are working so hard, he would leave office 8 hours and move on. So people asked him, what is it you are doing differently? And what he said was, every day morning, he would spend about 20 minutes to strategize his day. He would have 20, 30, 40 things to do, and he would every day choose his top 5. What are the top 5 things that I must do today? And that's it, not the 6th item in his list. He practiced that for a long, long time. Just the 5 things out of the many opportunities that you would have. So Mr. Premji, picture is not here on the slide, but this is also one of the inspiration. So now I would like to put it together, how we can draw inspiration from these concepts and apply in some of the things that you shared about product ownership. So here comes the last part of this short session, where we will talk about some of the tangible takeaways. But before I can share some of the things that I have put together, I'm really curious to know from you. I hope you can think of at least one approach of minimalism, simplicity, and essentialism that can be applied in product ownership and still achieve great results. What do you think? Let's bounce some ideas, please. Anybody? What is that one technique we can use in the day-to-day life of a product owner where we can be minimalist and also achieve great results? Short backlog, awesome, right? Focus on one thing at a time, amazing, right? Look at this, which Scrum Guide has already started to tell. Well, product goal, one product goal at a time. Either work on it or discard it and then move to the next one. Sprint goal, a singular goal, right? Short backlog. How many of you have seen or been part of a product backlog refinement activity? Is there anyone? Product backlog refinement, fondly called by other terms like in general product backlog management and grooming. Is there anyone who have been part of product backlog refinement sessions or activities? Yeah. Yeah. So when you talk about product backlog refinement, generally speaking, what I have observed is, hey, let's do some refinement. Well, why, product owner? Why suddenly? I said, hey, I've got some 4 more ideas to work on. So let's sit together and write some user stories and come out with a plan and this and that. Generally speaking, refinement is all about adding more and more and more stuff to the product backlog. What we can do more. And this idea, short backlog, is an awesome idea. Why not we have a refinement session where we sit together and say, hey, today we have 50 items in the product backlog. Let's do a refinement and reduce the 50 to 40. Think about it, right? Which are the most important ones or which are the least valuable 10 that we can get rid of now? Why cannot refinement session be a shortening session or technical sense, reducing the number of items? Think about it, right? These are some of the things that I would like to share with you. So let's start some of the things that I would like to share with you all. It all starts with a strong reason. Why are we building the product? I'm sure some of you have at least got introduced to this book by Simon Sinek. I found it inspirational. It changed my life because when I found my purpose, my life changed. And now I'm traveling across the world, interacting with people across the world, right? To help them in their own journey in some way I can contribute. And most of it is about what's your purpose? When I started my own organization, what has motivated me was my vision. The reason with which I started. Many a times as an entrepreneur and a founder of an organization, I go through tough times. And I'm sure many of you as business owners go through tough times. These are the times when reflecting back on the purpose really helps us keep motivated. So that's the idea. Clarity is what is needed. Clarity of purpose. What is our purpose? With this product, what problem are we trying to solve? What purpose we intend to achieve? I'm not talking about this purpose or that purpose. What is more important is a clarity on that, because that clarity will help us taking many decisions in a very quick way. All right. So without doubt, first thing about minimalism is start with why. Unless we have a clear why, we will be getting into the rat race of doing more and doing more. Or last time we did 10 items, velocity 10. Let's do 2 more this time. Let's try to get more. Let's try to get more. Hey, why are we doing this? I don't know. Organization expects us to do that. Let's improve. And improvement means more. Unfortunately, no, in my opinion, in my humble opinion. Doing more does not mean better outcomes or more value. Many a times doing less is. And this kind of decisions can be more clear if we have clarity of purpose so that we can discard many of the items. So I've briefly shared about it. Now, last few points here, putting things in perspectives and creating very clear set of priorities. What is and what is not. Let's not have too much analysis and getting into paralysis out of that, right? So that is the broader idea of minimalism. Things we value most up there, reduce everything else. Don't worry about things which probably we will not end up doing. I think this is pretty much straightforward, but let's look at some of the things now, right? Decluttering, cleansing, right? Even the house that we stay, even the workplace that we have so many things around. So it also connects to the spiritualism concept of minimalism. Remove things, remove the clutter, because that impacts our mind. Keep less stuff around you. Don't keep stuff when you're sleeping, when you're working, keep as less as possible. So removing as much as possible from the product backlog, just like I shared. When we do the product backlog refinement, ask yourself, what are the 10 things we would like to remove from the product backlog? Product backlog refinement should not always be adding stuff, adding details, adding stuff, adding details. Let's move on and let's look at the next one. When I talk to my children, one of the things that I have been doing consciously or unconsciously is don't do things. Don't start your day saying, these are the 10 things I have to do. Rather, take a pause, take a deep breath and ask yourself, what problem are you solving today? Don't worry about what have to do, but ask yourself, what problem are you solving for yourself, for your family, for your loved ones, for the world today? And if you have many problems, choose the one problem you want to solve today. And once it is solved, then go to the next one. Don't think about doing tasks. Well, enough of task management, right? Task masters and all of that, not the great idea. Think about problems and solve the right problems. Discover the root cause of the problems. Solve only the most impacting problem one at a time. You can't solve everything. We have been talking about product backlog. All right, list of features, order list of features, prioritize them. How about prioritizing our problems, right? What problems of the users we are solving? And just focus on one problem at a time. And that's it. So one, you will have to not do too many problem solving at a time and maybe just do bare minimum to solve the problem. There are many intuitive ways of doing that. Next one, eliminating all emotional burden. Now that brings to the concept of sunk cost. I'm sure many have seen. So let me see if some of you have experienced that many a times we work on projects or product development which are just dragging. Right, dragging and dragging and dragging. And when you ask to the executive saying, hey, why are we doing this even after, let's say, 2 years? And the answer comes, well, I still feel this will work. Well, 2 years. No, I still feel because I took a decision 2 years back, they are pumping in more money and more money just to prove a point or a decision that we took some months or years back. Sunk cost fallacy. So don't worry about it. Money gone is gone. Do small experiments, quick ones, validate your assumption and move on. Don't commit to building a product. Just build the least number of functionality and see if it works. And if it doesn't work, that's where the key thing is. Don't get emotional. It's okay. It's time to move on. There are better ideas. We can always try something different. Let's accept it that it did not work, or at least for time being, it's not working. Maybe market is not willing to accept the product for now, but don't commit just because you spend some thousands of euros on that ahead. So don't get emotional about product development. Product development is a game of uncertainty. Many times you will not get success. It's okay. It's about doing small experiments to validate your assumptions and moving on. So this is something very, very critical. Don't get emotional and try something else. Well, we started with the why, and it's time to reinforce the why time and again. Keep reminding yourself, why are we building the product? What is the product vision? Revive the product goal. See if it still makes sense and keep doing it. How many times have you seen product goals? One product goal, next 6 months, same thing, no change. Well, when I work with product owners, I say with every sprint review, our product goal should go through some change for academic purpose, just like we change our definition of done every sprint. Let's also look at our product goal. I'm not saying just remove it in the whole way, but can we make it better or more precise or more smaller in a way? Right? Think about it, right? Revisit your why and keep doing it. And last, but not the least, we need to draw some inspiration from the Scrum values of courage and openness. It's time to say no. And no means no. Learn and practice saying no. There are hundreds of stakeholders around and they would want everything by yesterday. Ask yourself, is that absolutely necessary? And well, anything less than 100% yes is a no. Just like in Scrum, it's either done or not done, isn't it? 99% done is done or not done. What do you think? Oh, I'm almost there. I'm just there. 99% done. It's not done. So same thing, apply those concepts in making those decisions. If you are not 100% sure at this point, wait. We are not saying we will not get back to this. There are many other ideas at this point. So always work on things that you feel, at least from experimentation point of view, are good enough for now. So having said that, I'm still doing my findings, putting it all together, putting my thoughts together. So at this point, despite what 6 to 7 months of interacting with people, I believe that there is still a lot more that I need to work here. So the journey will continue. And for product owner also, it's a journey. It's never the destination. You reach one goal and then try the next one and then try the next one while still being a minimalist, so that we can at least be happy about what you're doing now, live in the moment, and find that intrinsic happiness as we work together. So thank you very much. I wish I was able to add some value and some thoughts into your mind, and I would be open for some questions or feedback at this point.
Lovely. All right, folks, please use the Q&A section on Hova to submit your questions so that we can upvote each other's questions. We probably do have time for a couple of questions. We have 4 minutes left. So the first question that we have submitted is about anti-patterns. What are the anti-patterns of a minimalist approach? Is there such a thing as too minimalist?
Yes, absolutely. And this is also part of my upcoming research. I would like to add pitfalls of minimalism. Well, there is, but not in the holistic perspective, because being minimalist might also lead you to missing out on some opportunities, right? So it's like, look at Warren Buffett. When we discarded 85 files, maybe 5 of those still became what you call as multi-billion-dollar business units, right? Yes, there is a pitfall. You might lose some opportunity, but in a holistic perspective, the risk versus gain is still on the better side. You are not making higher losses. So that is the idea, organic growth, right? So yes, there is a pitfall to minimalist approach wherein you might lose some of the opportunities around you. I hope it makes sense. Yeah.
Right. So the positives outweigh the negatives anyways, right?
There's always a negative side to everything.
Okay. All right. If you had everyone in the audience to do one thing when they finish the conference today, what would be your one task for us today?
Is it a question for me?
Yes.
Yeah. So can you repeat the question? If I had only...
If you were to give us one task to do as inspired by your talk after we round up the day today, what would that be? What would be the one thing to take away and try to apply in practice?
Reflect on the why, the purpose of life, the purpose of your profession. As we say, there is a Japanese concept of ikigai, and which have slightly modified. You know, if we can connect our passion, purpose, and profession, that is the sign of a happy living, right? We don't need to have a personal life and a professional life. So one thing that I would like you to think about out of all this is reflect on your purpose, reflect on your why.
Absolutely. And one last question before we conclude for the day is how to manage minimalism in your attention. There are so much distraction, so many distractions around us these days.
Yeah, well, it's an intentional practice. So what I do is what I can share. I don't know what will work for you. So I have a habit of reflecting on my days, my experiences. And I look at what conversations I had, what kind of people I interacted with me, and I try to analyze how many of those interactions or even people gave me negative energy or did not help me grow. And then I try to see, can I reduce or eliminate those interactions? It's enough. There's so many good stuff that I could do, right? So that's what I would do. Reflect on the experiences. Don't just live in the world of fiction, but reflect on the experiences and take one step at a time. And that's all. For example, I'm traveling to Europe today. After this session, in 30 minutes, I'll be taking my cab to Mumbai airport and I'm landing in Netherlands tomorrow morning. And I find that the baggage that I used to carry for a 1 week travel, now I'm traveling for 3 weeks and the weight of my baggage has gone down. Think about it, right? The baggage for 1 week travel, and now I'm traveling for 3 weeks to Europe. I will be traveling 7 countries nonstop, but my baggage has gone down. It is working, my friends. Minimalism is working. But I'm carrying all the essentials and rest, leaving it to them. Well, in the whole thing, I might have missed carrying one stuff, but that's okay. I will rather do something if I have missed something. How about that? All right.
All right. Thank you very much, Vineet. Thank you for your talk, for your energy you brought to us today. We really appreciate having you. It was an absolute pleasure. Now, for the audience, some technical information. We will be parting now for a longer break. Please use the chance to explore our community functions on the Vova platform, upload your pictures, interact with colleagues, because we will give out prizes for the most active attendees. And also do not forget to leave feedback for our speakers in menti.com, because there is a separate prize category for that. Thank you once again, everybody, and best of luck in your travels, Vineet. Enjoy your break, our participants, and we'll see each other soon.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you once again. Take care, everybody.